Okay, what this video is about is I'm going to talk about how I am currently etching blades and give you a little bit of history, what I used to do. It's just something I think is informative, but I kind of threw together. And I just want to ventilate a little bit. I don't know what people, some people expect for free in this country. I don't get paid for these videos. If you see any commercials on there, YouTube put them on, which I'm fine with. They go ahead because I really enjoy YouTube. I've learned a lot. There's a lot of good videos out there. There's some that are not so good. There's some that are bad. I try and do the best I can. So if you're not interested in some handheld camera and I don't have a lavalier microphone or anything like that, then I suggest that you go do something else, okay? I don't know how nice to put it, so let's go, Brandon. Have a nice day. Please turn off the video and do something that you like. So what I'm going to talk about is something that I haven't seen on YouTube so far, and that's why I'm making the video. It's a combination of using a Pantograph and also Electro etch. There's a guy using a Pantograph. I think he's using probably a cutter, a motorized cutter, which is how most of these pantographs that the jewelers use to engrave trophies and plaques and things like that do it. Or he may be using a diamond tip. I have got a diamond tip that will actually scratch the blade, so it will mark the steel good enough if the surface is nice and clean to show up a logo. And he uses fonts, so it's a very versatile system in a lot of ways, because you could make these fonts in any number of letters you want. They've also got some symbols and things like that, and you could actually order or make a sort of a graphic that'll follow. They sell the Boy Scout emblem, and they sell the one for the Masons, and you could put the Mason symbol on a brass plaque or a knife blade or anything like that. And a lot of times they make name tags in plastic. But there's a knife maker many years ago, Tom Enos, and this is the method he used. He used a ground substance with acid, and he taught that to me, so I've been kind of sticking with it ever since. So the good thing about these stencils when you electro etch is you can use the same stencil quite easily, but you have to get the thing made, and it's only one size. So there's kind of a disadvantage there. With the font, you're kind of limited to whatever brass little pieces of font you have, the little letters. And so there's pluses and minuses. This has been working for me. I'd like to show that to you, and maybe you'll get some ideas of how it'll work for you. I use a Hermes engraver. I've got another one I picked up somewhere. But you can make a pantograph. I would probably, at this stage of the game, knowing how well the system works for me, make a pantograph and look around. They're expensive, even though they're old antiques now, because everything's been taken over by CNC. But there's still some pantographs around, new and used. People sometimes want a lot of money for them, but if I had the need, I would probably try and knock out a pantograph. I did make a huge pantograph for my router, but that was for trying to make a sign. But this is on a very little scale. So I hope you get some ideas out of it, and if you're sticking around, I hope you enjoy it. All right, here's the deal. I got nail polish here, and I got this special attachment which I machined up to replace the plastic one for whatever badges are in here, and I got this thing kind of set. Yeah, okay. Now this thing here, you tighten this thing here. Alright, you got to jerk on this thing, make sure it don't wiggle. Everything's got to be solid, okay? I got the diamond tip basically at the height I want. And this thing here, I'm going to get this out of the way. When you move this where you want it, this thing is on a spring here, and it'll go down and you'll be making contact. So this stylus, well, this follower, I guess that's the stylus. So I'm going to check out, make sure that my font is where I want it. I may want to move this around. I want to move it over, up and down. The blade I may need to move up and down, but I'm going to check that out. Just give me a second. Okay, you got to make sure that this thing will go over as far, because you may be at the end and it'll be bumping, it won't work. Make sure nothing is obstructing up here. Okay, you go over here, make sure it goes all the way over here. Your up and down is okay. Everything's tight. Everything's tight with this. Okay. When you do this, there's a bunch of numbers here. This is the ratio you get out of the Pantograph. Make sure that this number is the same as this number, otherwise it won't be straight. It'll be looping around like that. Everything has to be in alignment. This point has got to be in alignment with the stylus, has got to be in line with the pivot. Okay? Alright, so I'm ready to go. I'm going to put the stylus in the font. I'm going to push down. I like to give it a couple shots. Let me get another shot here. Okay. Next letter. So the diamond is scratching the metal, but its main purpose is to scratch off the resist, which is, in this case, red nail polish. I got some blue nail polish, but it was too lumpy. Got at the dollar store. So I tried the red, and it looks like it coats on a little even. Let it dry thoroughly. Good 40 minutes now before I got to it. Probably need, I don't know, probably 15 minutes. Okay. F-R-E-D-O-M. Isn't that? Next one is. These S's are a little tricky. Alright. That's probably enough. Now, if you skip out of here while you're pushing down there, you're going to get a mess. You might have to start over. And hopefully, I'm not going to show you that. You just visualize it. But if something's loose and it breaks loose, you'll screw it up. So make sure everything's tight. Alright. Almost done. I'll just keep boring you here. Alright. Last one was an E, and I accidentally put an F in there, so I faked the little bottom, and it came out okay. Okay, so I get this out of the way. I'm going to uncrank this. Alright, so I got that into the resist pretty good. And now I'm going to go over and hook it up to Electro Etch. Okay, but before we go to the next step, I just want to go over this. It's maybe not quite clear. You can see here these numbers. You have to set that right now. I got this like about 4. No, it's about 5.5, and this was set to about 5.5. So you have to set those equal so everything stays in alignment. So this pivot and your stylus and the whatever the hell, your movable point here has to stay in. Now this will go into the your font, okay, and make it clear when you've got this on here and you're going around, the font that this big is going to be a lot smaller up here. And when you want to start engraving, you push this down. So this is on a hinge. And then another hinge back here. So you move this around, this will stay this way. This is a sort of a device I made. I put on a drawer slider so that I could move this back and forth, get that where I want it. This is a Hermes pantograph, and the way this works, you move this, and this moves the whole clamp back and forth. But if you come down to pull it out and go into this notch, then it'll just tighten up there. Okay, and I got these clamped down, but they have another way of doing it where you just use these clamps here on the bottom on this table. Okay, and this is a product that was pretty good. It was Chronite. It's blue. I think it's some sort of copper solution. It says contains heavy metal, corrosive and all that. And this is what would etch steel. It was used by gun makers to engrave their guns. And it works pretty much the same way as aqua regia or ferric chloride. Only I think it worked a bit better than ferric chloride. And that's what I used to use when I basically quit using aqua regia. And okay, here. Okay, this is universal etching ground. I don't use this anymore because I have nail polish. So, you know, why mess around with asphaltum when you can use nail polish for $1? Get any color you want, and the next Alice Cooper concert that comes into town, I'll be decked out. And bring my whip and my handcuffs, and I'll be wearing the nail polish. And take a look. Here's the brass font in this holder. It goes in there. These are special ones where you could turn them and take them out like that. You don't have to go all the ends because they got this sort of bevel on it, and that'll fit in there. And then you use these clamps to hold everything steady. And that's sort of a big obstacle. You can make a pantograph, but you have to make some nice font. But if you know how to make a pantograph, then you'll probably figure out how to make some font. Well, I might as well mention Jane's Ground. It's, well, I always use a lot. That's sort of an asphaltum. Okay, what I'm going to do is I got some Q-tips. I thought this was a dumb way of doing it. I got another word. Anyway, but I thought this was a dumb way of doing it. But actually, I got some real small font on here, and it's working out pretty good. I didn't line this up too good. It's a little bit crooked, but it's small, so what the hell. And I'm going to dip a little bit here in the salt water. I had some vinegar in it last night, but I don't think it was doing any good. Okay. So positive to the work and negative to the tip. Alright. I got a Variac. I tried a battery charger. They weren't working. I think when I measured this, it was coming out 19 volts. I don't want to go any higher. I think, well, 19 volts, this cheap Variac cuts out. I think it's got some coils in there broken. So I got 19 volts. I'm running it through a bridge rectifier. And it seemed like it's doing all right. I'm touching this thing here. Now I want to get a deep etch. I'm used to getting a deep etch. I used to always etch with Aqua Regia. But it's not that easy to find nitric acid. Then like you got to make it yourself. Then I tried etching with ferric chloride, and that is not bad. It won't get you deep etch like the Aqua Regia I had, which I got off somebody, and it probably is way bad by now. So that's off. I'm going to get a little bit more on this side. These things get gunked up. And what did I get? The dollar store. I got 300 for $1. I mean, as cheap as I am, even I know that's a bargain. So I had another box, and they spread all over the place, and I was just really frustrated. I never really used them. And I don't know where they are. I had to buy another box, but once I find that, I'll have enough for years. I'm gonna get a little more of the Go Juice here, the salt water. I don't think there's any vinegar left. I think it all evaporated last night. Now I'm on, yeah. All right, well. Alright, that's off. I tried to touch this thing. I didn't get a shock, so. And I think that definitely got a little bit warm. I have a very big bridge rectifier. I think it's like a 30 amp. I got from a surplus electric store. Alright. I was going to buy some nail polish remover, and I forgot. But I got some off my wife here. Publix. I was using alcohol. I had 50% alcohol. They didn't have 70% at the dollar store. Oh, shit. That looks nice. Well, I think it does. Got a scratch in there from somewhere. I don't know if I did that or where that came from. Anyway, if I sand it down a little bit, it might come out a bit. But anyway, that's that. Okay, let's see if I can hold this steady enough to show you. This is a knife I did a couple years ago, and that's using probably that Jane ground asphaltum and probably that chromite solution. You can see I messed up this F here. It bled across, but this is a really deep etch. Okay. And by the way, there's a bridge rectifier, in case you didn't know what. And this is the other side. And 2008, I guess, did that. Okay. So I made a batch of these, like to give to people. Maybe put it in the iron and hat. And this steel was kind of messed up. I figured it looked kind of crude. I don't know. I let that go. This one's been smoothed off better. And it came out okay. This is not as deep as that acid etch one, but they're all right. Let me see if I get this side here. I'll hold this there. So, and then this one here. They all came out pretty much the same. So, like, you know, it's acceptable. I knocked a bunch of these out, just kind of give away and have something to carry at a blacksmith conference. And they're kind of easy and they're kind of fun. And I want to see if this one will cut. Yeah, how about that? It will cut a coffee stirrer. So it came up one time on Facebook where this amateur knife maker made a really nice knife. He was a beginner, but you could see he put some nice work into it, some skill. And somebody said, I said, why don't you put your name on your knife? And he goes, well, I don't need my name on a knife. I know I made it and all stuff like that. And I said, look, you know, every artist puts their name on their work. It identifies it as theirs. And you sort of take pride in it. So I think it's important the same way to put your name on a knife. And the Pantograph is a good versatile system. You could put the date you made it, and next year all you got to do is change one number and you got the next date. So I think it's useful. The people have stamps and things like that. That's quick and useful. That's one way of doing it. And there's a stencil. So this is one more method. Pantographs are kind of hard to find since everything's been taken over by CNC, but they're out there. They might be kind of expensive. I'm sure you could make one if you're resourceful, and I wish you all luck with that. Please be safe. This stuff can be dangerous. You can start fires, injure yourself, damage your vision, wear safety glasses. You have to do this at your own risk, but I hope it works out for you. You got some suggestions, so thanks a lot.